Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of NasCard Radio. This is episode 145 of NasCard Radio. I'm your pal Val. With me is Texas Tornado Ken. How are you?
Got a little bit of the post-Indianapolis 500 blahs, but, other than that, I'm all right.
Good, good. And then the man, the myth, the legend, PSA and White Castle Hall of Famer, Logan. How are you today?
I am feeling rain delayed.
Yeah, I was going to say a little soggy. Yeah.
Yeah, you ought to know, man.
Oh, my
Did
goodness.
it like rain and just rain and keep raining in Charlotte? I mean, it was just ridiculous.
It was raining and it
Yeah.
wouldn't stop. So anyway, for everybody, this is NASCAR Radio. We're trading cards and racing meet. I want to thank our sponsor, Panini America. Got a great show for everybody today. We're going to do a racing recap of the week. Had a few races. Finally got some of them in. I'll split some up in two sections. Never seen that before. That was pretty cool. Interesting. And then we have our guest on there, Ken. We got to talk about some IndyCar sets, some regional sets or promotional sets. Pretty cool. And then we'll wrap up with King's Court. So strap in. It might be a long show, but it will be informative and you will learn a lot. So, or your money back.
Yeah.
So we're going to give a shout out to Kyle Katz and Beans Ball Card Blog in here for YouTube comments. We read them, so please leave them.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that
You're
Bean
welcome.
Ball Card blog guy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Where are we at? Okay, let me go over here. Let's do the racing recap. We'll try to go through this pretty quick here. We had the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race number 11. That was the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. That was Friday night. It's a long delay before the next race. But that was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ben Rhodes was our winner. Highest finishing rookie was Nick Sanchez. I thought that was a pretty good race.
Yeah, that was actually a very good race. Don't remember where Haley finished. I don't think she did very good, though.
I want to say, because it's been a long time since that race happened, is I don't know if she came in for tires and made and we got two tires to get up to the front and then just didn't work out.
Yeah, plus she was in a crash, too. Go figure.
No, not her.
She's never in a crash.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So Ben Rhodes, last year's, actually 2021 Craftsman Truck Series. But we've talked about his rookies before. Not a lot. 2013 Press Pass Fanfare, card number 99, base card there. With different parallels, only a few parallels back then. And then Young Gun autographs and only a handful of parallels for that. I want to say numbered to 149 or less for those. And of course, he's one of these guys where if you're going out to a bar drinking, he's your guy.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah. That championship, that was so awesome.
It was.
And then the highest finisher rookie, Nick Sanchez. 2022 Dunruss. He has a base card there with the rated rookie. All the parallels. Signing series there as well. Signature series. Also in Chronicles with Clear Vision, Clearly Donruss, Chronicles Optic, Obsidian, Spectra, Stars and Stripes, and Zenith. Also with 2022 Panini Prism. With all the parallels in there. Signature, sensational signatures with the parallels there. And then also 2022 Panini National Treasures.
Yeah, he's definitely got the scribble of the year going on for sure.
Yeah, we've talked about him a few times. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to win Rookie of the Year in Truck Series. I think it's pretty competitive.
Yeah, I would like to see Rajah Caruth do a lot better.
We will see. And then next race number 12. That's going to be the Toyota 200 at the WWT Raceway at Gateway from Madison, Illinois. That's going to be Saturday, June 3rd at 1:30 p.m. So we have a doubleheader this Saturday.
Sweet.
Yep. Let me make sure. Okay, that's clear. All right. Moving on to the Xfinity Series. That was race number 12. And that was the Alsco Uniforms 300. That was supposed to be Monday, May 29th. Actually, it was May 29th.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Took it to Monday, part 1 and part 2. Justin Allgaier managed to win that. Highest finishing rookie was Parker Retzlaff at position 6.
Yeah, that they split that race up into 2 parts. I mean, they started it with plenty of time before the Cup race, and then it started misting. And I looked at the radar, and I didn't see anything on radar. So it must have been extremely light mist, just enough to get the track damp, and they couldn't run. But it was just like, here we go again, another red flag for rain. Oh, here's another red flag for rain. It's
It
like,
just seemed like it rained
good
forever.
God.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday. Justin Allgaier, we've talked about him a few times over the course of the years. Rookies are in 2009 press pass with the different parallels. There's signings in 2009 press pass. There's also press pass stealth. There's also a chrome version. There's 2009 wheels element. Only autographs in that release. And then 2009 wheels main event. He has the, what is that? 4
Playing
diamonds
cards.
there. Yeah. Playing cards for 4 diamonds, blue and red. And then the main event marks, clubs. Let's see. Diamonds 1, hearts 1. So I guess that's card number. And then the printing plates as well. So, but 2009 for Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, that inscription card is pretty awesome. You know, it says '08 ARCA champ. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's there's the regular version and then the red, which is numbered out of 25 with the, like you said, the '08 Arctic Champ.
Yeah, and you know what? He knows how to write in cursive.
Yeah, that's a legit. You can read that autograph.
Yeah, it's getting to be a lost art for sure.
Yeah, it's also 2009. That was a
Yeah.
while ago. It doesn't seem like it, but that's a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting old. And then our highest finished rookie, Parker Retzlaff. No cards for him yet, but I'm hoping maybe in Dunras this year.
Yep.
Which has been delayed till the 21st, I think it is, of June. It'll be close to the National before it comes out. So,
Well, there may be other mitigating issues that may prevent it from coming out. We'll talk about that later.
right. Next race number 13. That's going to be the Pacific Office Automation 147. That's going to be in Portland International Raceway. Again, it's going to be Saturday, second part of our doubleheader, June 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Moving over to the Cup Series, that was race number 14. That was the Coca-Cola 600, and that was Monday, May 29th. Ryan Blaney was our winner. Highest finished rookie was Ty Gibbs at position 26. And Ryan Blaney cards. Go back to 2012. Press Pass Fanfare. A base card there. Card number 77 with a few parallels. Magnificent Materials in 2012. Press Pass Fanfare. And then the Young Gun autographs. There's 4 versions of that autograph. And one side note is you can find a full signature for Ryan Blaney, or you can find the version that you see there where he's pretty clever with the Y. Let's becoming the L in his last name, Blaney. So there's a small number where he was, I guess, signed his full name, and then he's like, had to sign hundreds of these and decided to change it up. So, which he has confirmed.
Well, that was a popular win for sure. I was glad to see him finally pull one out and win. I was proud for him.
Yeah, I was like 59 races, and of course, my dad, I think I've said it before, he always puts a little money on Blaney. So I texted, I was like, I hope you placed a bet for him this time. And he chose, this one race not to do it, but he said he did. So I was like, because when he was with Wood Brothers, he was a big fan of them, so he stuck with Blaney. And then our highest finishing rookie was Ty Gibbs, who we've talked about for weeks on end since he's been crushing it for the rookie of the year.
He he was running up there, man, and freaking Kyle Larson just.
Oh yeah,
God, Kyle
yep.
Larson has lost it completely. He just lost the car.
Yeah, I was
And
for a glimmer there. I thought Ty Gibbs might win this thing.
I did too. I was thinking, man, he could get up there. He might have a chance.
Yep. But 2020 Chronicles, all the different issues in of 2020 Chronicles, and then also in 2020 Panini Prism Notes base cards there, only autographs.
Yep, scribble.
Yep. Next race. It's going to be the Enjoy Illinois 300, and that's going to be the Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's going to be Sunday, June 4th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Stage is going to be end of lap 45, 140, and the end of lap 240.
That's going to be a good race, and we'll talk more about that in the news here in just a little bit. Why it's going to be a good race.
All right, let's move over to Formula One. That was the 2023 Grand Prix of Monaco. That was Sunday, May 28th at Monaco. And that was a pretty cool race. Max Verstappen was our winner. A little bit of rain there. It was interesting. I was a Fernando Alonso second. Esteban Octon in third.
Yeah, I remember seeing the results of that, and it just seemed like it must have been mostly follow the leader. I didn't watch it, and I know it was raining, but I mean, I looked at it was the results versus where they started. I mean, that's the thing about Formula One. I watched Drive to Survive. I watched it all during the off season. I watched the first two races. I tried to get into it, but let's just call it what it is. Formula One is boring as you know what. And I don't care if it's the most popular motorsport across the world. Soccer is the most popular sport across the world, and it's also boring as hell. So, but yeah, I mean, you've got the same two drivers have won every race, I believe, unless somebody snuck in there and won one that I didn't get. It's basically nothing more than follow the leader, and then if one of the bottom tier teams gets a good starting spot, they tend to drop down by the end of the race. I mean, and I know Monaco. I mean, I know it's not a very wide track because it's street circuit as opposed to a road track. But yeah, I mean, I turned it on and it was raining, and they were just follow the leader, and I watched like 3 laps and I turned it back to the Indy pre-race coverage. And
There's a little drama middle end of the race when the rain came out, and who was in second place again? Fernando Alonso was gaining some with the laps, whatever, but then it was going to be, did they red flag it because of the rain or not? So there's a little drama there, but to your point, it was mostly, the first 3 ended like the first 3. So
yeah, I've challenged and I've said, someone explain to me the appeal, because it seems to be follow the leader. It's the same team, same 2 drivers. and all I ever get in response is crickets.
Well,
I wanted to like it. I really tried, and I used to like it back in like the late '90s, early 2000s when we had Speed Channel, and they would show it and talk about it, and I did enjoy it back then. But now it's just like I could go outside and watch cars drive down my street.
well, 2 years ago, it was a lot more, I think, competitive between number one, number two, and you had, Red Bull and Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes. But ever since then, it's been Red Bull, Red Bull. You had glimmers of Ferrari here and there, but I don't think Lewis Hamilton has won in a year or two here. So I don't even remember the last time. Maybe he gets to the podium. To your point, is like, um, unless they reset the field and some of this other stuff, it's pretty much, can I get 20-second head start so I can come in and get tires and come out ahead of, second place. So, which is pretty
Yep.
much what happened, in this race, or probably in the last race, maybe the one before that and the one before that. But um, Red Bull right now is in a whole nother class. Right now, it's going to be, is it Verstappen, or can Sergio Perez get enough points to get within his teammate for the championship? Which, that's another whole uh, internal fighting, I'm sure, going on. So, but between them and the rest of the field, yeah, it's hasn't been very exciting. So, but
As a NASCAR guy, I would be highly upset if Kyle Larson won every damn week. I
oh,
would I
how
would
do you
not
feel about
watch
Jimmy
NASCAR at
Johnson?
all.
How do you feel about?
When Jimmy was winning all those races, I was having a hard time with it. But I don't know how Formula One fans. I mean, and nothing against anybody or anything, but I don't understand how Formula One fans can deal with somebody winning every week. I couldn't deal with it. There's just no way I could deal with the same NASCAR driver winning every week. I would turn it off and like what Ken did, and I would say the heck with it.
Yeah, when I first, you guys know, I tried to get into NASCAR the last couple of years. I don't know why, but I just can't do it. But when I first did get into it, it was either that first or second season. I think that Gordon win 12 races one year, and
13 in 1998.
was it third? Okay, 98. Okay, so that was actually, I guess, the third year I was paying attention to it. I think the saving grace for me was, TV always wants to talk about the leader or the chosen one, whether that be at the time Dale Jr., Danica, whoever that is. But I didn't have cable, so I listened on the radio and listened to MRN, and they were really good about talking about drivers all throughout the field, probably because you visually couldn't see it. So it at least kept it a little more interesting. If the race was for second place and Gordon was, 10 seconds checked out, they focused on the second place race instead of just, oh, Jeff Gordon, he's driving. Oh, he's going to turn left. Because unless he was lapping somebody, he rarely had competition. So, yeah, if I had been watching on TV then, I'd have been exactly like you said, you get, and how I feel about F1 right now. I wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it, but there's so many better things I can do than watch a parade.
Well, I told my wife before the F1 race, I told her the night before, I said, Max Verstappen is on the pole. I said, he will lead every lap and win the race if he doesn't have a mechanical failure. And he did. And that's the way it is. And again, I just don't understand that. I just don't understand it. I couldn't deal with it in NASCAR if somebody dominated like that. And we had something similar to that back when Jimmy was dominating, but it wasn't near to this level.
So let me continue on here. So the Formula One standings right now, we have 6 races. 6 races. Max Verstappen is in first place with 4 of the 6 wins. Second place is Sergio Perez with 2 wins. So there are your 6 wins. He's 39 points behind Verstappen. Then we have Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell, and then Carlos Sainz. But dominating right now with Red Bull, with all the wins.
Yep. I guess they're the Hendrick of F1.
They are. And we'll just go quick over Max Verstappen's cards because we talked about him 4 times or 3 times already this
You
season. But
probably should just make this a pre-recorded segment
yeah,
and just
I think
start.
that's why I was thinking to do this between Max Verstappen and yeah. But the 2016, he has Topps Trumps cards. Also, there's a 2018 version pre Topps Chrome. There's a Topps Now version that I think the print run was what I say was like a little over 4,000, and I actually saw it on ComC for less than $8, which not a not a PSA 10, but it was a raw version of the card. So F1 has come down quite a bit for some of these, which I still like this Topps Now version for less than $10 or $8.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a great card. It was overhyped at the beginning.
I don't think
Now
it
it's
got
come
the
back up.
hype. Yeah, it didn't get the hype. I don't think like the Lewis Hamilton. But if you're looking for the 2020 Topps Chrome, there's about 13 cards in one image variation in the Topps Chrome, and there's parallels for all of those. There are inserts with the 1954 World of Wheels and the track tags, parallels for those. There is also the 2020 Topps F1 official stickers. There's 11 stickers in that issue for Max Verstappen, and then the Turbo Attacks Formula One 2020. There are 12 cards there, and then 3 limited edition cards as well. And then there's the Topps Dynasty Formula One with all the autographs and patches and stuff. So, like I said, we've covered him quite a bit. So 2020 and our Topps Trumps 2016, 2018. And then moving on for race number 7, that's going to be the Spanish Grand Prix, and that's going to be Sunday, June 4th at 9 a.m. Eastern. I think that's in Barcelona.
I'm gonna call it. Verstappen will win, and Sergio Perez will place second. Which track
Okay.
did you even say it was? It doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No,
You're right.
I'm with you.
All right, let's move over to the star of the show here, the 2023 Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
That was race number 6, and that was Sunday, May 28th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Josef Newgarden was our winner.
Yeah, he's a Nashville boy.
Yes.
So the nice thing about him winning is he won on his 12th opportunity, his 12th race. And only one driver that has won the race had more starts before without winning, and that was Tony Kanaan with 13. So, just if you put any stock in statistics, Newgarden either had to win this year or next year. Or, it's not like by any stretch of the imagination that he's old or, that he's losing it, because he's obviously not. But, yeah, I mean, it was his 12th try and finally was able to pull it out.
Yeah, that one lap shootout at the end was crazy.
Yeah, you mentioned red flags. I don't recall. Did you guys watch the whole race or the end of the race? I mean, we had 3 red flags in the last quarter of the race, and I honestly think it was probably within the last eighth of the race, including the one where they threw a red flag with 2 to go, and because they don't do a green white checker, and there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I'm not one, that it was because of Newgarden, which was why they did that, so that he had the chance. Penske, it's a Penske team. Penske owns the track, right, and all that.
Yeah, that's his first win since acquiring the track.
Yeah, but I mean, he was up there all day. It's not like he was up there off pit sequence and it was a very popular win. And then after, of course, he goes into the stands. I notice all your NASCAR guys decide to start doing that. Y'all got to come up with some original stuff on your own. Bunch of copycats.
Yeah,
Well, that
Ryan
was
Blaney
Ryan.
did the same thing.
So Ryan Blaney is Penske. So that's the first time that actually Rogers won the 500 and the 600 in the same weekend.
Which is another kind of, let's just call it what it is. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I was really surprised that all the wins they've never
Mhm.
coincided on the same weekend. So.
Yeah.
But I was watching the race, and one of the biggest thing I had that big flashback when that tire got severed and went into the stands. I was like, I have flashbacks to Charlotte. I think that happened in Charlotte as well. But thank God that went into the parking lot and nobody was around. So I know I think they're reevaluating some of that because they had inspected the car and they said that the tether and all that I guess was intact or whatever. So it must have sheared somewhere else.
Yeah, was that off of Kyle Kirkwood's car? I think.
Yeah.
That scared the heck out of me.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, thank God it was between some of the grandstands and the parking lot to the other grandstand, right? So.
Yeah, hit a lady's car. She's like a celebrity now. They brought her in. She got to kiss the bricks after the race. They got her a ride home after the race, and then I did see today that actually Penske Entertainment is going to buy her a car, which means they're going to give her one from like one of his lots. I mean, it's not like it's a big sacrifice on his end, but it is nice to see them.
She's like, no, I want I want one of the Indy cars.
Yeah. I want one that can go about as fast as they can.
That was what, a Chevy Cruze, I think, that got hit.
It was, yeah.
That's going to be the official pace car next year.
I mean, we can all joke about it because obviously nobody was hurt. But
thank God.
I joked to my wife and I was like, man, I really thought it would have totaled the car.
Well, yeah. I mean, it hit right on the front. It hit on the
that front
the
quarter panel.
Front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josef Newgarden, he doesn't have any cards.
Shocker.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. On Trading Card Database, they mentioned the 2017 Green Light IndyCar Series. I guess there's two versions of that, but I think we had talked about they're come from like the Matchbox cars or something like that.
Yeah, it's the 164s. They have like a little placard in them. I mean, it's not even really like it's a card. Mm-hmm. Some years I think there are some years where they've got driver photos at least, and then there are other years I think it's really just a placard, no photo, no nothing.
Next race number 7, that's gonna be the Grand Prix of Detroit, and that's also Sunday, June 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's the Detroit Street Circuit. So a lot of racing this weekend still.
And that's if you have been paying attention in the past, for the last, I don't know, at least decade, but probably closer to 20 or so years, that's been on the Belle Isle track, which is actually like not streets, but it's going back to the street circuit this year. So it will be on the streets of Detroit. So a little change from, the last, I don't know, couple decades or so.
And then with that, the IndyCar Series standing so far is Alex Palou in first, Marcus Ericsson second, -20. Award third, -34, and Josef Newgarden fourth with -37.
And something else to note on that is this is the first year in a while, I don't know when, but Indy for a long time was double points. So Newgarden would probably be in first, I believe.
I was going to ask you about that.
Using that system. Yeah, it's now it's just like every race, which is honestly how it should be.
Yeah, I guess he got 51 points for that.
Yeah, okay, he got 51. So he would be in first place under, previous year's scoring system.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure he's happy to win double or single points.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's not complaining.
And so that's it for Racing Recap this week.
All right, cool.
All right, you want to go to some news?
Yeah, we got some news nuggets for this week. First thing I'm going to start off with is, and I got this from J-Ski. NASCAR announced on Wednesday, the 31st, that the number 14 of Chase Briscoe has been penalized for a counterfeit underwing part. I'm sure they'll show it. I think NASCAR said they're going to be showing these counterfeit, or not these parts that people get penalized for. But it goes on to say that crew chief John Klossmeyer has been fined $250,000 and suspended from NASCAR through the next 6 Cup Series championship points events. The team and driver have also been assessed with the loss of 120 points and 25 playoff points. I think this is the most severe single penalty ever in NASCAR. It beats what happened to Hendrick not that long ago.
It's like Jim France off the top rope.
Oh yeah, man.
Holy mackerel.
Put the sleeper hold on him, man.
250 grand. So this is one of the things I think we talked about before. So NASCAR is trying to go with, those composite parts to try to reduce costs, and they do not want anybody making modifications or touching any of that stuff. So massive penalties, and that's why, because they don't want, because I think it was before somebody had modified some parts and they got, again, Jim France from the top rope on them. But this is 250,000, 6 races, and then all the points and stuff. So this is definitely sending a message with the bullhorn here, not to mess with the parts.
But there's still going to be teams that are going to do it. They're going to try, and we know who those teams are. But anyway, so the next news nugget that I've got from this week, this was on, and this is again from J-Ski. NASCAR announced on Tuesday, May 30th, that Chase Elliott has been suspended for 1 race for intentionally wrecking Denny Hamlin at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hendrick Motorsports comes out and says, "We understand NASCAR's need to maintain consistency in its officiating." And I'll tell you right now, if he had not been penalized, there would have been an uproar. But it goes on to say that the penalty will not be appealed, and we will submit a formal request for a playoff waiver. Now, I guess that means that they're going to get some kind of exemption for. I'm not exactly sure what the playoff waiver is. Do you know? I think it has something to do with if they finish anywhere in the points, but they have a win, I think they can go into the playoffs now. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, because he missed that time with the broken leg.
Yeah.
To get a waiver to kind of remove some of those requirements.
Well, you know what? Richard Petty didn't need a playoff waiver.
He's a whole nother breed.
Yeah. So
he also drove without power steering too.
Yeah, sure did.
And the the air intake into their helmets and the cool suits and
all that. Yeah.
His cool suit was a cigarette.
that was David Pearson. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, I mean, those guys, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, it goes on to say that Corey LaJoie. Now, I want to know how this even all came about. Corey LaJoie will drive the number 9 Camaro ZL1 this weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We are grateful to Corey for stepping in and to the team at Spire Motorsports for making him available. Why Corey LaJoie of all people? I like Corey LaJoie, don't get me wrong, but I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to showcase what he can do in top-notch equipment. So I am hoping Corey LaJoie can kick some butt on this one. I really am. And then with that, since he's going out of his car, they're going to put Carson Hocevar in the Spire Motorsports car. So Carson Hocevar will pilot the Spire's Motorsports number 7 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 in Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Speedway. So, man, it's like revolving, or
yeah, but Hocevar is in the trucks.
Yeah, but he's going to be in Spire Motorsports. He's going to make a Cup start.
That's what I mean. That's like,
it's crazy. I mean, I don't understand how all these logistical things came about. I mean, okay, well, Chase is out. Who do we get? Oh, Corey LaJoie. And then who are we going to get to replace Corey LaJoy in his car? Oh, Carson Hocevar. I mean, oh my gosh, it's just so weird. But I'm glad for both of those guys.
Like whack-a-mole.
It is. It's like musical chairs or whatever. I mean, it's just crazy. So the next news nugget I've got is from Sports Collectors Daily, and this one's a big one, I think. The Texas offices of Panini America were broken into, and the offices were damaged over the holiday weekend. Irving police officials say they were dispatched Monday afternoon to the 5300 block of FAA Boulevard to respond to a burglary report. A source tells us an unknown number of suspects, so we don't know if it's 1, 10, however many people, entered the building through a business next door. In other words, they just beat the wall down and went through that way. They circumvented the entrances. But it was done sometime during the holiday weekend, apparently setting off no alarms at all. So like, okay, Panini, get some freaking motion detectors in there. But anyway, a police report states that Panini's interior offices sustained thousands of dollars in damage. The company's computer systems were knocked offline and remained down. Now, we also had heard, it doesn't say this, but we also heard that servers and other electronic equipment was stolen. So that's what we've heard. They say there's no suspects have been arrested at this point. Panini's offices will be closed for the remainder of this week as the company's IT team gets to work to get its systems back online.
Just
Thought?
incredible. Just, I, I had visions of, I don't know, like Pierce Bronson does this TV series of like these heists and stuff like that, and it almost sounds like something like that where they go through the business next door and come through the wall, and they come into with no alarms or nothing over the long weekend. So it could have been done anytime during that weekend. I saw these things like, not that it was like this, but like a bank, and you knock it off on Friday and they come back multiple days because they have the whole weekend. It's just, on so different many levels could be catastrophic for Panini. We talked briefly before we came on. Me and Logan are in IT, and different jobs I've had over all the different years. If you lose a server, you have to go to backups. But if the backups were on site or off site, you got to get equipment, and then you have to get those um, tapes and get restores. It's a long process to try to even get back to where you were Friday before this all happened. So just devastating.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the person or persons that did this had some intimate knowledge of the Panini offices. I mean, it just that reading from what little we know, I mean, it sounds to me like they knew where to go, where the servers were. They intentionally trashed some offices, which almost sounds to me like somebody's mad, maybe. I don't know, but it just you just don't. I mean, I live in Memphis, for crying out loud, and the people that break into places here, they don't usually trash everything. They just go in there, steal what they want, and then they leave. So there was something else going on here besides just going in there and stealing the electronic equipment.
Now, I don't know if you saw the police report or not, but it was like 1:46 or something is like when the police arrived. They were done at 3 something, but it was, interesting that it wasn't like 7 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning or something like that. It was, uh, I guess Tuesday early afternoon. So
I have an alibi.
Yeah, Ken lives in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I mean, those offices are 20 minutes from me.
Oh
but
wow.
I'm sure it's like in a business park. So,
Yeah,
no,
relatively.
everybody, all, well, it sounds like the place next door is probably vacant. So, not a lot of traffic in and out of there. I just,
I mean, they
I don't know how many, if they kept cards there or redemptions were filled somewhere else. Because I want to say, I don't know if there was a video, maybe it was Panini had put out a video or whatever, and about the memorabilia and stuff. And I think that was in a different, like that was in a different warehouse or whatever. So,
I will
who
say that
knows what's
I
there.
will say that I believe the distribution center and all of that is at another facility in the area. And yeah, just based on, like you said, going through another business and what was done. I mean, Panini's pissed a lot of people off. They've pissed a lot of collectors off. But, if that's how they treat us, you can't imagine they treat their employees any better. So it sounds, like you said, it sounds personal. It really does to
Well,
me.
that
So,
had to have known the
mhm.
interior of that business and
Agreed.
those
Yeah.
walls. So,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, I'm going to guess that people don't get treated very well there. Like I said, they shit on us. If you shit on your customers, oh, sorry, never mind. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, I'm
but
done.
this could be catastrophic if they can't get business to get the company back up and running. How many weeks does it take? And I'm sure they have product in the pipeline here, but it could be devastating. How they communicate, and if it's what I'm thinking, if servers are down and emails are down, whatever. So if they use Office, whatever. I went and checked the website; it's up, but again, that's probably
That's
hosted
hosted
with somebody
somewhere
else.
else.
Exactly, but that Office 365 or whatever. But what was on site on those servers, if there were file servers with everything.
Logistics
So
information and stuff like that. So, like you said, Donner's Racing's supposed to be out in 3 weeks, but yeah, if it takes them 2 to 3 weeks to get back up and running, logistics and whatnot, you may see another pushback on that and whatever other products they have coming out anytime in the near future.
yeah, so matter whatever they were working on, now it's all just to get back to Friday.
Yep.
It's going to be a fustercluck.
It's
That
gonna
it
it's gonna
is.
be it's gonna be bad for them. Like it's like what Val said. This could be very devastating for them. Unfortunately, we don't know their backup retention policy, what they do with their backups. Like I said, do they back up to the cloud? Do they back up to tape and then carry the tapes off site? I mean, do they even have good backups at all? I mean, I've had instances. I've been in IT since 1981, so I've been in IT for over 40 years. And I have seen more than once where people thought they had good backups on tape and they did not. And they were in big trouble. So, you just don't know what their particular situation is right now. And hopefully they've got good backups and they have access to those backups. But I'll tell you a quick story. Several years ago, me and a buddy of mine were working up in Wisconsin, and it was like some of the coldest air they had ever had. I mean, when we were there, it was in February, or I think it was like early February, and it had been like 20 below. It was cold. I mean, it was the coldest I've ever been. But I left. We were done with the project. I left to come home on that Friday night so I could be home for the weekend for the Super Bowl. Well, my buddy stayed up there, and he was going to come home a few days later. Well, over that weekend, that cold, they had pipes bust right over their server room, and it ruined everything they had. My buddy was up there for 6 weeks helping them get stuff restored. They had to buy all new equipment, restore back up. So it took them 6 weeks to get their data center back up and running, and that was working on it constantly. So I can only imagine what Panini is dealing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, only good is your backup plan and testing your backup plan.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough IT talk, but
Yeah. Yeah. 2 words: motion detectors.
yeah, because I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was working for an insurance company. And we actually had offices on 2 different floors of the World Trade Center, and so we lost, contact to those servers naturally, and had to make other provisions uh, for the data. Of course, everybody actually in the office was okay. They had gotten out. Actually, we lost two employees, but they were visiting from the New Jersey office. But that
Sad.
just can tell. Yep, yeah. Like I said, I totally forgot about that. And it's one of the things, like you said, Logan, been in 40 something years, and you always have a DR plan and test that DR plan. So, and hopefully
Absolutely.
you never have to use it.
Yeah, but in the event that you do, it's literally a company saver.
Yeah. So, to be continued then on
Yeah, we'll keep
Panini.
you guys abreast of what's going on with this continuing and ever evolving story.
So, anything else?
No, let's talk about IndyCar cards, Ken.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Ken, uh, super excited to have you on, especially after Indy 500 and some of the what?
I was just pointing down to Ken.
Oh, okay. And so we talked before the show, and we got some slides here, some pretty cool IndyCar sets, promotional stuff. So this is one of the Colton Herder. And some of these are limited. This is pretty cool. This is reminiscent to kind of, what was it, Nick Sanchez that they gave away at Darlington.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's so as you can see down there in the back image on the lower left, they do have a print run of 1,000. So yeah, this goes right in line with that Nick Sanchez, Mario Andretti, and
And it's
so
cool that they're individually numbered.
they are, yeah, they have serial numbers to them, and these were just being handed out. So I have 3 of them from the Texas race, which is Colton Herta and Nick Sanchez. So, who is Nick Sanchez's part? I'm guessing is Gainbridge his sponsor or one of his sponsors?
Yes.
Okay, so these are being done through Gainbridge, obviously, based on the image you see in front of you right now, and I think you have a second image of a second one. Yeah, I guess there the Gainbridge is not necessarily, it's not front and center, but you can see it on the ones that I have. I guess if you want to come back to me, I believe I touched on these
And the
when I
second one
joined you.
is 1,500, not a
Yeah.
thousand.
So yeah, there is some difference. I'm thinking that one is probably for Indy 500, and the 1,000 was probably for the road race at Indy, the GP. So just knowing that they probably were giving them out all through the couple of weeks. But yeah, so here I guess you can't see them because I don't have a lot of. But anyway, there's 2 guys on there, and it's it's Herta and Sanchez. And if you remember, at Texas, the trucks ran with the IndyCar series.
Yes.
So I am thinking that, so based on that, and based on, y'all talked about or showed, I believe, the Nick Sanchez, Mario Andretti a couple weeks ago, I'm guessing that they're probably giving these out at all the truck races for Nick Sanchez. That would be my guess. Y'all might have searches for him. I don't. Just like I said, for him, it's not anything I'm particularly interested in.
I
But
might tomorrow.
they are normal trading card size. I mean, they're a little thinner than your normal card, but they're on a paper stock, a semi-glossy front. But I mean, it would be a good front for an autograph. Yeah, my wife and I were just in line for the autograph session and got these, and I ended up getting a third one because, like, right after I got through the line, I had some butterfingers and dropped half my stuff, and somebody was helping me pick it up, and I guess somebody else had dropped one of them, and she's like, "Was this yours too?" And I was like, "I think so," because I knew I had one, but I wasn't like going through what I had, so I did end up with 3, and I can tell you on the Colton Hertas in general, those things are going on eBay for right. And again, somebody's posting them at this price, but they're selling at $20. I think there have been some best offers of like 15, but that's $20 plus the 5 shipping. So I mean, there's $25. But even though they say that there's 1,000 or 1,500 of these, I mentioned before the show to you guys, and I think it's a solid comparison. Again, I'm not going to put it on that same level, But to an extent, it's kind of like those 72 STP cards where they're basically giveaways. They were going down the line. Hey, you want a Colton Herta card? Hey, you want a Colton Herta? Sure, sure, sure. How many people threw them away, left them somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
They're just at the racetrack, got dinged up, whatever the case may be. So, because there's not, an IndyCar set out there, I would like to put this together just to have them to kind of document for my library for future reference. But while 25 seems pretty pricey per card, per race, we got 19 races, I believe. That's a lot of money, but this might be one of those things that, you see them for a couple weeks after the given race and they're going to dry up and, they could become scarce. And they talk, and I don't understand it, but they talk about, if Andretti were to get into F1, Colton Herta would be the driver in theory. Don't ask me, his results do not. Anyway, another story for another day. But I mean, then you would have that potential added popularity to these individual cards. So, but that was something I wanted to go over just to let, if there are any IndyCar people listening, that these are out there. That's what you're seeing. So I would plan on seeing, I'm going to plan on seeing a card for each race is out there. Well, it doesn't mean I'm going to see it on eBay, but I'm going to work under the assumption that there's going to be 19 of these.
Yeah, probably need to maybe stick to social media. They might, show photos of that or whatever, or talk about those giveaways. But
now that you say that, I do think I had seen that. That might have been earlier in the season, but that does sound like something that they might have done at one point. So,
but definitely something to be aware of. And if that's your thing, you got some avenues here, something to chase.
yeah,
And not too crazy a price, because when you talk about $30 blaster box or whatever,
it's pricey to add it up throughout the year. But again, if you're someone that's worried about value, I would say they'll probably dry up. I mean, he is, even though he's young, he has been successful in IndyCar. I mean, he's not winning championships, but I mean, he is a successful driver. He is a heck, what do we call these? Like, his dad was a driver, so he's
generational.
Yeah, legacy, I think more is what I was thinking. Something like that. Kind of like Kyle Petty was, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to let people know when I first saw these. I joined you guys after I was at the Texas race, but I did not. That was only the second race of the season, second or third race, and I didn't know anything about other than they had been handed to us. So. But now that we've seen more of them, I figured it would be something worth chatting about.
No, that's awesome. And then this other one I think is really cool. This is the Penn Station set.
Yeah, so Penn Station
Subway, like a sub sandwiches.
Yeah,
if you don't have them by you.
Yeah, I don't believe that we have them down here. Maybe we do.
I think we have them here in Charlotte.
Yeah, I've got a local sub place that we go to, so we don't go to those big chains. But apparently, if you do go to those big chains, they are or were giving out. My understanding is that this is the complete set. Our mutual friend Mike Thompson talked to me about those, or told me about them. I had seen one on eBay at that point, hadn't gone after it, but then somebody had, that 5-card set. When he showed those pictures of 5, those are from the eBay listing, and he had multiple sets, and I bought multiple sets of these just to have them. So those are out there and about. If you're, I don't know really much about the release of them, like what the distribution is. My plan is to go ahead and take a look through their social media, see if I can find any stuff from the past. And then in addition, you've got Elio Castroneves. Those are Elio Castroneves cards. And then I believe one of them also has Simon Pagenaud, who is also an Indianapolis 500 winner and an IndyCar Series champion. And he is a guy that does not, like Josef Newgarden, doesn't have any real air quote cards.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code there. It works.
It's one way to do it. No, you know what though? I do think actually Pagano is in that Formulae magazine set or whatever, but most of us can't afford those things. So yeah, that was just another set where they based on the picture, they look like they're not going to be standard card size. They're going to be taller, smaller than your typical hero card, but probably more like, I'm going to guess, more like the Topps basketball from the 70s.
Yep. Tall boy.
Yeah, more like that than like the Skybox oversized racing cards. Because those were a little thinner on, one side. So, but yeah, I wanted to, we talked about that. So I wanted to put this information out there as well, that if anyone was interested, like I said, I know I've seen a couple listings on eBay. One was for a single card. And then this gentleman that I bought these from had multiple sets. I bought multiple sets of the ones he had available. And I know that he doesn't have any more of them available. Doesn't mean they're not out there. But that was another set that's out there. You used a good term, like a promo, almost like a promotional card, or a sponsor done set. And that's a lot of, even IndyCar, there's a lot of that stuff out there. And I'm actually finding more of it even from recent years, but you had a lot of that in the 80s. Like there's a Bosch Spark Plugs 5-card set that has Mario Andretti in it, and I believe Al Unser is in it, if I'm remembering correctly. I can't remember who all is in it.
You got Danny Sullivan. You've got Al Unser Jr. I think it's an 8-card set. It was Bosch Spark Plugs, and it came wrapped in shrink wrap, cello wrap, and on the back of it, it had a little fold up flyer where you could order like Bosch stuff. So. Yeah, I've got that set. That's a pretty cool set.
So yeah, again, it was a giveaway at the track, similar to what we think the STP cards were in the past, and those Bosch Spark Plugs. And I found out that IndyCar has done something, or Cooper Tires, who has been the second tier series, which is Indy Next now. They've done some guys that are now in IndyCar. So it's just something like that.
Awesome.
That's cool.
One other thing I wanted to bring to attention. Let me share the screen here. Is the Chip Ganassi Racing promotion, or they were giving packs away with a donation to the American Legion. That has finished up here. As you can see, they had different levels. Basically, it was $10 a donation for 1 pack. 10 packs, 100, 20 pack, 200. And they brought in over $10,000. They only had a goal of $5,000 for their packs, and over $10,645. So if you divide by 10, that's over 1,000 packs. So I expect them to be shipping. And actually, Ken actually had mentioned he actually has gotten some packs, so those should be shipping out if you haven't received them already. Soon.
Yeah, I got mine the day before the 500. I got mine on the Saturday. The good news is mine were in okay shape. The bad news is it was 5 packs thrown into a FedEx cardboard envelope.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah, those are their actual reactions, y'all, because I did not think to mention that earlier. But yeah, it was just that, like the USPS flat rate cardboard envelope. That's what they were in. There was nothing. I mean, no protection whatsoever. Thankfully, I think mine are all okay. But I ordered, I believe, the very first day. So that might be why I got mine just a little bit earlier than y'all have gotten those. You addressed them, I think, on one of the last couple episodes. There is a checklist on Trading Card Database for those, but no images. We don't know.
I can bring that up real quick.
So, and I will show again. I know my lighting isn't great, but that's because I don't want to torture everyone with having to see my face.
Well, hold on real quick. I'm gonna share the checklist.
Okay.
Let me know when you can see that. It looks like there are 37 cards. Looks like there are 5 cards. Scott Dixon, Pillow, Marcus Ericsson, Sebastian. Who is that?
Is that Bourdais?
Yes, thank you, Bourdais. And oh my goodness, Van der Zander.
Oh, Van der Zand. Yeah, he's one of their sports car drivers because Ganassi does multiple different series. I mean, as you all know, or most everybody listening would know, they used to be in NASCAR. They did get rid of that, but they're in sports cars and other things like that.
Right.
Like from 24 Hours of Daytona and things like that. And yeah, all of those drivers are in the set. So it's interesting. You said 37 on the back of this card, or on the back of this pack. It says, congratulations, you've just secured a pack of Chip Ganassi Racing's 2023 trading cards, featuring drivers and race cars from our open wheel, sports car, and off-road racing series. So off-road racing as well.
Okay.
This package includes 8 cards, and you had said 37, but this says from our 36 available designs. I wasn't sure if designs, I when I first read that, until you said the 37, I didn't realize that meant 36 cards. I thought there were more cards, more different cards than that. But every pack presents a chance to get your hands on rare autographed cards from Chip Ganassi Racing legends. So I briefly touched on when I was joining you guys last time, again, after the Texas race, that, I'd gone to the autograph, my wife and I'd gone to the autograph session. So we got all drivers. She went to one side. It was split in 2. She went to one side. I went to the other. So again, if anybody's been to NASCAR races, or, I mean, honestly, if you just look on eBay, you're familiar with what hero cards are. Oversized. Some people will list them as postcards. But driver cards, and IndyCar is no different. Every driver, every team has those for their driver. Well, the Chip Ganassi Racing ones are trading card size. So, I mean, here's the Colton Herta in the back, the Colton Herta cards in the back, along with the Scott Dixon. Here's a random Alec Manoa card in the top loader. So you can see that, again, the sizing is your standard card sizing. So this is what the Chip Ganassi drivers used in place of hero cards. And I ended up with 2 from Scott Dixon, an Alex Palou, a Marcus Ericsson, and a Takuma Sato. Marcus Armstrong did not race that weekend. He only runs the road races, and Takuma Sato runs the oval races. So he is in that set as well. So what we don't know is, we were talking before we went live. We were talking about production runs and just not being sure how many there are. What I can tell you is that when I was there, when the drivers had sat down with, their hero cards, they had a sleeve of cards, and it looked probably, I'm just guessing based on my 30-something years of hobby knowledge, probably about 1,000 cards, because it was just like a set box. But it looked like it was, and just knowing how production is, they probably would round it to 1,000. They're not going to do 750. But those were these cards, which we believe are in these packs. So Trading Card Database, the checklist you showed, had some numbers, but I don't know if those, we don't know necessarily who listed. I know you can look and see who put the checklist in there, but like, did they have intimate knowledge that those cards are numbered, because these are not numbered? So we're going to see if we will find out when some packs get opened, and we can see some back images if those cards have numbers, allowing us to discern the cards from the packs versus the hero cards that were signed and or given away at tracks. Well, we won't be able to do that until we get a pack, until packs are open. So what do you guys say? You want me to open a pack?
Breaking news, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to tell me no on that one. Yeah, I only got 5 packs, because when I ordered, and we talked about this, when I ordered the 10 count of packs and the 20 count of packs, it said we're sold out, and somebody had bought them already. So the best I could get was the 5-pack, and that is what I took. So, all right. So
All right, breaking news here.
So I will say that the first card I have does not have so these do not have card numbers on the back. So I suspect these base cards are the same as the driver cards to be handed out, which makes me also think that the cards that do not have this design are short prints. So here are the cards from the pack. Here's the Takuma Sato. So they both have number 11 because, as I mentioned, they drive the same card. Sato drives ovals. Armstrong drives street and road courses.
Cool.
So I am thinking that the ones in this design likely are higher printed. And when I just learned something as I opened this pack, makes me think that I'm definitely right in that assessment. So this was the first card in the pack. I know, not great picture, but a Chip Ganassi card.
Ganassi.
So there's no number on that.
There is no number on the back, and I did look. So yeah, you can see the top of the card. At least you can see this side a little better since it's light colored. So my second one is Marcus Armstrong, which if you collect F1 cards, he was in the 2020, 2021, and 2022 top sets. But again, no card number on this, which leads me to believe that these cards are the same as those. Now, we also know that there are autographs. So now that I believe you had said they say have a print run of 100. So it's going to be interesting to see when somebody pulls one of these out, if we can figure out if there's any way to discern those from, it just being one of these signed.
Right. So we'll see. Hopefully you get an autograph in here and you'll answer that.
I can already tell you there. Unfortunately, there is no autograph.
All right. But there's 5 different autograph subjects, and it states a print run of 100 each.
So we got a Sebastian Bourdais
in
the base version. And I know you were struggling with his name, but he was like a multi-time champion in Champ Car. I think he won like 4 championships in Champ Car when we had the IndyCar Champ Car split. So, I mean, he's a very successful driver. Alex Lynn, sports cars, trying to get the best I can with my limited lighting.
Yep.
And no idea. RJ Anderson. So this is the last one of my base. So my next one.
So how many is it? Okay, so you had that, and then there's a few more than.
Yep, that's 5. So you had 4 of the base looking ones. You had the Chip Ganassi.
Okay.
And then this is a GMC Hummer number 99 from Ganassi Racing.
Is that oversized, or is that still
EV team inaugural season in the electric off-road series? So this is called a Chrome Moments. Oh, breaking news.
Yes.
Breaking news. I just noticed on the back of that one. Takuma Sato. Well, let's do it this way. This card right here, and I can tell, it's my fault, guys, the light. There is a card number down here on these.
Okay.
CGR05. Like for Marcus Armstrong. These ones, no card number.
Ooh.
So there we go. Breaking news.
So how many have card numbers?
I mean, all the ones in the packs, it appears, have card numbers.
Okay.
But those that they were the handouts at the track do not have card numbers. As you're looking at it, it would be the bottom left side.
All right.
And they have the CGR prefix on them and then numbered,
Yeah, that's what's in the trading card database.
Exactly.
CGR number, dash, and then a number.
Exactly. And I noticed it on this one because I was looking at the back. So, and I guess I can try and do something with the light here. But yeah, it's not going to help. Look at that. Can you tell just by how I move it? It's got a chrome.
There you go, right there.
Chrome
that is
finish.
Awesome.
It's
chrome
so
finish.
shiny.
3 chrome finish cards. So yeah, so this is card number 31. And apparently it's got some scratches on it, probably because I just set it on my desk, but whatever. I'm going to save the best for last. Fastest rookie, 1982, Indianapolis 500. Boy, this one has a lot of scratches. Oh, boy. I'm wondering if we're going to have a lot of issues with scratches on these. Because the other one I had set, I think this is going to be interesting if people are trying to grade these and whatnot. But anyway, this one has a lot of damage on it. Also here, 1982, Indianapolis 500, fastest rookie, Chip Ganassi.
Cool.
All right.
And then here, I don't know if you can see. You probably, you're not gonna be able to see it. But
If you turn it a certain way, we can see the shine.
there's some damage right here.
Yep. Yeah,
You
we can see it.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think that's how they're gonna come. And then I've got some indentations and scratches, which probably came from, as I mentioned, how they were shipped. To be honest. And then for me, the top one, another Chrome Moments, second in all-time wins, which is actually one I mentioned to you guys before the show. Scott Dixon.
That's cool looking right there. I like that.
So, it looks like, if this pack is representative of all packs, you're going to get 8 cards. You're going to get 5 that are a basic and 3 that are a chrome finish. So
they're all 3.5 by 3.5 by 2.5.
Yeah,
nothing's oversized. Okay.
So like I said, normal, that's a normal Alec Manoah autograph Topps trading card.
Yeah.
I think when we looked at Logan looked at some early pictures, it looked like some of them were longer, but it could have been the way the picture came over the borders to make it look different size.
So there is the first, at least that I know of, the first break of a pack of those.
Yep.
Exclusive here on NasCard Radio.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Thank you.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So now, like I said, now we've answered some of the questions that we had discussed both before the show and there. There is a way to discern the two. If you want to talk about air quote value, I would say that in theory, the ones with the card number on them are going to be more short printed.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that. I guess it's a coin flip, but knowing that I saw a sleeve of probably 1,000 of those from each of the drivers at the track, odds are there's a lot more of those.
I would think so.
So there we go. How about that? So now we've talked about, while IndyCar doesn't have an officially licensed trading card set, there are at least 3 things that you can do this year. Again, it's not going to be for every driver. You're talking about Herta is an Andretti driver. He's the only one that so far, his card, the only one that was a dual card was the one with Sanchez. And then you have the Elio Castroneves, which is Michael Shank Racing. And then you have the Ganassi Racing. But, no Josef Newgarden, no anything like that. But, you talked about you had mentioned before the show how much Ganassi had raised on this alone, and it was double what their goal was. What that tells me is what I continue to see, and I continue to see it with guys that were in, for example, the Press Pass Legends sets, because you had Penske guys and Ganassi guys in those. And I'm guessing, context tells me the reason that they were in those, what were those, like 2011, 2012, 2013, something like that. Those were teams, IndyCar teams that also had a NASCAR presence, Penske and Ganassi, and those were the only guys that were in there. But, those autographs go for good prices. I follow it. You guys follow the NASCAR stuff way more than I do. I follow the IndyCar more than you do. And I'm honestly shocked at the prices on a lot of these things. And every once in a while, I'll send them to you guys, and I'm like, I can't believe this went for this much. I do think there is a demand for that. And I know that, going back to these things may dry up. I have a buddy, Taylor, that was up at the Indy Memorabilia Show last week. And he ran into some guys that have some of these awesome autographs. Like there's some from Donruss, Americana or something, I don't know. But they're like dual, like Al Unser and Al Unser Jr. autographs. And a lot of these things numbered to like 100. And these things are locked up in their collections. And that's why you don't see them.
Right.
I really feel there is a base for this. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's going to be as big as F1 or it's going to be as big as NASCAR. But if someone's willing to do the work, I really think there is an opportunity here. And, maybe maybe Fanatics will do something I like and work on an IndyCar set. But I blame, just with my knowledge of what I know, I'm going to blame it more on IndyCar than I am on the card manufacturers not wanting to do it. But that's another story for another day. But again, when they raised twice what they thought they were going to, and we all know how businesses or operations like that are. They tend to always say they think they're going to do more than they're going to do. And for them to go over more than 2 times, a little more than 2 times, I really think it says something. Because yes, the donation was to the American Legion, but the donation was to get the packs of cards. Let's just be
absolutely.
Let's just be honest about it. I would have bought them without the donation going to there. The donation going to American Legion is just an added bonus.
Yep. It goes to show you, Ken, that the demand for IndyCar cards is there. I would like to see somebody pick up the license. I'd like to see IndyCar negotiate, because it sounds to me like you might know that IndyCar may not be negotiating like they should to try to actually sell that license to somebody so they can produce cards.
So you guys know, I've mentioned it, that when I worked with Lids for 2 years, we were the official retailer of the IndyCar series. And I can tell you that working with teams and also working with IndyCar can be a serious challenge. Now, that being said, when I say IndyCar, there's been obviously a lot of turnover since 2013, which was the last year that I worked with him. So 10 years ago. A lot of turnover. Penske Entertainment now has purchased, the series and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, things may be different. But again, just knowing what I know, they were not easy to get along with, at that time.
Well, hopefully things have changed.
I mean, I would hope. And again, I would love, if Panini would just do a Donruss Racing that has different series in it. I mean, I don't care too much for the NASCAR. I would want the IndyCar cards, but that would be real easy for us to each buy a couple of boxes. And I send you guys the NASCAR cards and you send me the IndyCar guys, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Any number of things, it would open up trading on trading card database for me, because I'd be there would be more people interested in NASCAR than there would be IndyCar. And I totally realize that. And, I'm not trying to make this out like IndyCar is going to go and be as big as F1 is right now or anything like that. But there is a built-in market, because people that follow racing tend to follow other sports. And if you collect baseball cards and you love IndyCar or you love NASCAR or you love F1, odds are you're going to have an interest in those cards. How many racing fans do you know that are just racing fans? There are plenty, but it's not like it's the overwhelming majority, I don't believe.
No, probably not. I mean, I know that all three of us. Well, I think, Ken, you collect other sports though, don't you?
I do, more from a nostalgia standpoint, or guys like I kept showing up that Alec Manoa because he pitched at West Virginia University. Just things like that. But I mean, racing is the majority of it. But I mean, I also watch hockey. I follow the Stars pretty religiously, who are now out of the playoffs. That's part of my Indy 500 funk too. And back-to-back days, Indy 500 season ended, and hockey season ended in back-to-back days.
Wow.
Well, I think this is a great step for the Chip Ganassi cards, teaming up, with donations to American Legion. You saw the cards at the tracks. They did very well with the donation program, right? To getting twice as much as what they were anticipated. My other part of this is saying that the other drivers see these cards. Now, what if Penske decides to do his drivers next year and mimic and Chip comes back a second year for that, and then you have, kind of the trickle down effect where there going to be maybe a couple of teams that will have cards next year, and that will lead to, you're on mute by the way, and that will lead to maybe enough of these where maybe a license will come in and say, okay, let's do a card for the whole series.
And I believe I mentioned it to you, but it's probably been 3 months or so now. But yeah, some of the guys, I follow some of the IndyCar drivers on Instagram, and 3 of the IndyCar drivers, it was Christian Lundgaard, was Jack Harvey, and it was Connor Daly. They were up at Indy Card Exchange buying cards and opening F1 cards. And Christian Lundgaard, when I got him to sign some of his cards, he seemed to be amused. It wasn't like he was like, oh my gosh, it wasn't like that. But, he briefly mentioned, I had said, yeah, I saw he's like, yeah, I think he pulled a Sebastian Vettel 1-of-1.
Wow.
So, I mean, there are other drivers that are interested in this. And I mentioned my friend Taylor earlier. No, it was a different guy, actually. Somebody else I know had mentioned that when he was down at St. Pete, he had talked to Connor about the card thing. And Connor's like, yeah, I mean, I've really been trying to beat the drum to see, if we could make something like that happen. So, maybe a little bit with the success of F1 and guys coming over that were previously in F1. You've got, I believe, 6 drivers in IndyCar now that have F1 cards. Then you have a guy that is in Indy Next, which is like the Xfinity Series, but for IndyCar. And the guy that led flag to flag at the last Indianapolis race, he has cards in 2022 F1. So, I mean, you're starting to see some of these guys that have cards, and if they're also interested, hopefully all of this can kind of, bang a drum and, maybe this can somehow work its way up. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I think it's going to happen or it's going to happen anytime soon, but at least there's enough movement from different places that it feels like there's a possibility.
I mean, I can definitely see somebody, getting the hands on one of these Chip Ganassi cards and bringing it, back to their shop and going, let's do this for our guys. Let's, we got to print hero cards anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we do what they're doing? And that's how it works. And especially if it's successful, right? And they see it, they're going to mimic it, and eventually, hopefully, like I said, that a lot of the drivers have that.
And if you can have a sponsor where, you can do donations. Yeah, I mean, Santino Ferrucci drives the Sexton Properties car. Well, you're not going to donate to Sexton Properties.
No.
But American Legion is paying some amount of money to be on that car. And now they have gotten back some of that sponsorship money. And
I was thinking of like a fan club for the driver or for the team, for Penske team, for a donation, or not a donation, but for a Penske fan club, because we talked about it. Most likely we would be all in and we'd buy them anyway for the card. So whatever it is,
join the Penske fan club for $30 or whatever, and then you are the only one that has the opportunity to buy these packs. Again, that's going to be more costly than just if a Tops or Upper Deck does it, but I'm at the point where I'll take baby steps.
Yeah,
anything is better than nothing.
Yes. And I love any kind of regional set, any kind of promotional set, any kind of food giveaway set. I love those things. And that's something I think over all sports right now, we're severely lacking. It used to be back in the day, you had cards for everything. I can remember even in NASCAR, you could go buy some Gillette razors and get cards. So, I mean, they just don't do that anymore.
I can't even find those. I'm looking for those Young Gun Gillette cards. You can't find them.
They're hard to find, and you had to buy one of the high end razors to get the card.
Yep.
So. And going back to just kind of taking this more circle even to a bigger hobby thing, those of us that have been around, like you guys and myself have been around at least 30 years in the hobby. You learn these things and you have to learn from the past. And that's why, yes, when I talk about the Colton Herta cards, that's a great example. You can't find these Gillette cards that are from early 2000s, I believe. Does that sound right? Okay. I actually, I know that I've heard about those cards, and maybe you guys have talked about them on the show, and that's where I heard. But yeah, you just can't find them. They've dried up, and whether that be because they were just thrown away, because how many people bought the Gillette razor and just didn't care, or they're locked away because, like, isn't Carl Edwards one of them? For some reason, I want to say Carl Edwards.
I think Carl Edwards is in it. There's Ryan Newman's another one, and maybe it's Clint Boyer's another one.
And maybe they're just locked away in some of those the ones that are still out there and available are locked away in someone's collection.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
And that's why I go back to I kind of go back and forth on paying $20 for a Colton Herta, because if I don't do it now, I might not have the opportunity later. And if I do, and it goes up for auction, what am I going to have to pay for it?
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Look at me. I'm in the prime spot now.
Yes, you are.
I feel special.
Anything else on the
No. I think I've wasted it. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Oh, we didn't waste any time. This is
all.
I
thought that was really
stuff.
cool opening up a pack.
Yeah, we got a lot of we got some questions answered. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. I don't know how many of those. I don't know how many of those I'm going to open, just because, again, we don't know how many of them are out there. So, I might have to keep a couple of them on the side just for whatever down the road.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Save it for a rainy day. So, anything else, or we'll go into King's Court?
I think it's time to press play in the iTunes.
All right.
All righty then. We're going to start out with an honorable mention this week in King's Court. This was on the 29th of May. It's a 2022 Prism NASCAR Dale Earnhardt Jr. patented penmanship gold vinyl 1 of 1 PSA 10. They were asking $999.99, basically $1,000 for this card. They settled on a best offer of $750 for that card.
Are you serious, man? Why didn't you ask us to guess? Because that's exactly what I had in my head.
Oh.
I quit.
Okay. See you later, Ken.
Wow, $750.
Yeah. So okay, on the next ones, I'll ask you guys. Yeah, $750. That's a nice card, man. I love that card.
Yeah, I like that finish there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the gold vinyl. Yeah, pretty cool. It's PSA 10 too, so that's kind of tough. All right, so next up is our Joker of the Week, and I like this card a lot. This is from the 31st of May. It's a 2009 Sport Kings. It's got Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell, Mark Martin, and Rusty Wallace quad memorabilia gold, and it's a BGS Mint 9. So they were asking $1,495. How much, guys, did it sell for?
I'm gonna go 1,200.
Lower.
I'm gonna go 1,200.
Okay, lower.
Come on, Val. What do you got, Val?
There's no auto. It's just memorabilia here. So, and it's a 9. Let's go. I'm cheap. $500.
Okay, it went for $900. That was the best offer that was accepted. I think that's a great card. I don't think Sport Kings gets a lot of love, but this card, is really cool because, I mean, for example, Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell are both F1 champs. I think Mansell, didn't he win IndyCar championship too?
I can't remember if he won the title or not, but
I
was going to get at what you said. There can't be a lot of relic cards out there of those two drivers specifically.
No.
And to be multicolor.
And it says, it says where. So Annika, Senna, Formula One car, sheet metal from race used rear wing of Mansell, piece of rear bumper from Mark Martin,
Oh, they're
and race one Rusty Wallace driver suit.
okay. I was thinking they were all driver suits, which I was thinking would have the price a little higher. Sheet metal, okay, I more, yeah, because there's going to be more sheet metal out there for the drivers than there are driver suits, at least from that era.
Yeah.
But
And
that's
of course-
pretty impressive for Sport Kings.
Yeah, it is, man. $900. So I thought that was really neat. When I saw that, I immediately said that is going to be my Joker of the week as soon as I saw it. Okay, so next up is our Jack of the Week. And we don't talk about this guy very much, and he's having a great season. This was on the 26th of May. It's a 2020 Panini Chronicles William Byron Gold Vinyl 1 of 1 Crusade PSA 10.
I'm trying to go.
There we go. And it's a blank card. That's awful strange. It's not showing eBay's not showing the listing.
There,
It
there it is.
It just finally decided to pop up.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so of course this is a 1 of 1 auto. It's and we don't talk about, like I said, we don't talk about William Byron very much. He's got 3 wins this year in Cup, so he's having a great year. But they were asking $1,250 for this card. They settled on a best offer of
Ken.
Sorry, I was looking at the eBay auction I just won. But a bum. I'm gonna go William Byron. I'm gonna go $650.
Okay.
$750.
You guys are not going to believe how much this card went for. It went for $1,000.
Wow.
Well, how about that?
Well, he's gaining a lot of popularity. He's also in the 24 car, so
I didn't realize it's got the Hendrick sticker on the back there.
Yeah, check that out.
Huh. That's interesting.
It is very interesting.
That's
It
first
doesn't have
time.
that sticker across his autograph like they've done in the past, but
Right.
a lot
I
of that's
noticed.
been like Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at the junior. I didn't see it on the junior. That's why I was zooming in on it. It's like, well, it's on a sticker, but it wasn't his sticker to cover it. So that's interesting that Hendrick put that on the back. I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's serial numbered and everything.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, I like that card. Okay, it looks good with that red and gold. That's a nice looking card.
Yes.
All right, so up next is our Queen of the Week. And this was on the 26th of May again. Your computer must be acting like mine.
Yep.
This is a Danica Patrick 2020 Panini National Treasures autograph 1 of 1. A lot of 1 of 1s tonight. They were asking $499 for this card, and they settled on a best offer of
Too much.
yeah, I'm with you.
300.
I'm gonna go $425.
$325 was what they went for.
Wow.
But you have to admit she has a nice autograph.
Yeah, you can read it.
You can read it. It's legible. It's nice. It's consistent. But yeah, it's a 1 of 1. So I thought that was pretty. It was definitely the highest priced female driver card of the week. I thought that was really neat. It's a nice looking card with the green and everything. I think it looks it pops very well.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she does have a good looking signature. I can be that kind.
Yeah, but when you go to get autographs from her in person and you try to get more than one, it's not always a good thing.
Well, she's not ever been known as Miss Personality.
That's true. She did do a good job on the Indy broadcast, though. I'll give her that.
Agreed.
All right. So next up's our King of the Week. This is on the 30th of May.
Boom.
Here you go, Ken. Here's one for you, buddy. It's a PSA 9 Dale Earnhardt 1994 Max medallion. It's a redemption card, of course. It's out of 999. It's number 628, and it's got the letter,
Yeah,
which is
there's the letter
important.
we were talking about. So that is a real legit Earnhardt signature on that
Yeah,
letter.
so it's like two for the price of one.
A lot of people don't know that, but that's
Yeah, they
legit.
don't.
Well,
And then,
I know exactly how much I paid for that.
How much did you pay for it, Ken?
I did not buy that.
They were asking $5,000. How much did it go for?
Yeah, I would like to stay married. I'm gonna go 4K.
this is a 9, so
Yeah,
with the letter though, yeah, let's shoot for the 4.
$3,000.
Oh wow,
So, but what does that make a PSA 10 with all the same stuff? Does that make that, because it's exponential? So it's going to be probably $7,000-8,000 card, maybe in a PSA 10
possibly.
with a letter. But yeah, it's a nice card. I saw that card and it's like, there's my king. But again, we'll say this again. It says out of 999. That is not true, right, Val?
That is true. That is correct because there is a 000,
Correct.
and they made 1,000 cases. So somebody unfortunately had to take one home with them at the
Yeah.
at Max or whatever, or upper deck, whoever. This was pre upper deck, I think. So yep, I got photos of the 000, by the way.
We'll have to show that sometimes.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was early 2010s when that
So,
happened, or late to yeah.
so this is definitely a NASCAR Glamour card. It's definitely a card everybody wants, and there's only 1,000 of them to get. So
Yeah, and I don't know if we talked about the story real quickly. The story with this card was you've seen the card without the numbering on it. Those were so when Max printed these, they didn't come to terms with Earnhardt. So instead of destroying those cards, they put them to the side. They came to terms with him, and so his cards were in '89. But in '94, to commemorate something, they worked with Earnhardt to release the 1,000 of them, and they were inserted one per case. And I'm assuming they were one per case because there was 999 cases of medallion, and it had to have been a redemption because they give you the letter and that the
yeah,
small
it was a
certificate.
redemption.
Yeah, and so it was a special deal uh, to have these because it was releasing the official 1988 Max Earnhardt. Then in '97, they did another version of this autographed and numbered on the back, and that was with Upper Deck. And then after the bankruptcies, the regular versions got out. And so if you find them unnumbered, that's where they've come from. And so
Yep.
they've been accepted by the hobby and, you know, treated as an '88 Max.
Yep. So Ken, is this on your list of must-haves?
See, I'm mute.
Sorry about that. Probably not because of the price. As much
I'll
as
say if the price wasn't high,
yeah, as much as I'd like to have it, let's just call it what it is. How many nice Earnhardt autographs could I get for that same price? And I personally, I would rather have that. It's just always been the way I've collected. I mean, I've always collected a little more quantity over quality. I'm kind of shifting there, but a handful of Earnhardt autos is still quality.
No doubt. I agree with
So,
that.
yeah,
all
I
right.
mean, like I said, if I ran into it at the right price and I had the cash, sure, I'd love to have it, but I just feel like there's better ways I could personally spend and allocate my funds.
Yeah. Well, that's a
I,
cool card, no matter what. I
yep.
think it's on a lot of want lists out there, though. All right.
let's keep it moving.
So next up is our Ace of the Week, our 1 of 1. This was on the 30th of May. It's a 2022 Topps Chrome F1 Sapphire Sebastian Vettel 1 of 1 Aston Martin, and I think it's pronounced Padparasha is type of sapphire color that is. They were asking $7,999 for this card. And it's a nice card.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it still went for some serious coin. How much do you think it went for?
it's not graded.
It's not graded. It's a 1 of 1. Yeah.
I do like that purple or pinkish purple with
Padparasha.
that, yeah, with the red stripe through it in that green and the black. I think it's it's a great looking card, but I don't know if it's that good looking. So
I just so that what didn't go for the $79.99 because it's not crossed out there.
No, it didn't. That's a weird one because it says up there at the top, and I noticed this when I was looking at it. So this item is out of stock, but there's actually in 130 point.
Okay.
It shows the results of that. And I went back a couple times just to make sure. So it did sell for a best offer of.
I just don't see somebody coming off of that very far, so I'm going to say $7K.
I don't even know that when F1, man.
Come on, stand up, make a guess.
All right, I don't know, 2K.
No, it's higher than that and lower than Ken. It's 3,500.
I just don't understand how some. I guess I get thrown off if you're asking 8,000 and you take less than 50% of that. That crap always blows my mind. So, but that's another story for another.
Because that's because they're fishing.
There's a lot of fishing, pie in the sky things that go on, especially in Formula One right now, that I'm not a fan of. I don't like people throwing out these huge big numbers. There's actually, speaking of that real quick, there's actually a 88 Max Dale Earnhardt autographed card. I think it's card number 54 with this shows his car that's autographed, and they're asking like almost $40,000, some kind of crazy amount of money for that card. It's like whatever.
Yeah, because they said one sold last year for 75,000.
That's bull.
Yeah.
I saw sometime somewhat recently a guy that said he got it signed at Daytona the day he passed. He's like, last autograph signed, and he wanted like $3,500 for it.
Jesus, you can't prove that.
That's
now,
another
if you
story
have a
for
race
another
ticket,
day.
yeah, if you have a race ticket, different story. But
yeah,
all right, let's keep it going.
All right, last but not least, of course, is our Royal Flush of the Week. This was on the 27th of May. And of course, it's going to be somebody like Lewis Hamilton. It's a black Ray Wave 1 of 1, and it's from 2022 Topps Chrome. It's a PSA 10. So yet another 1 of 1. And they were asking $7K for this one. How much, guys?
I'm going to go $5K.
Yeah, I'll say $5K.
$4K.
Jeez, I almost said that, son of a gun.
You know what you would have won, Ken?
Absolutely nothing. I would have won congratulations.
You would have won
Yes,
congratulations. You would have. But yeah, it went for $4,000 for that car, and it's not even like. And I know how Val feels about car cards. He's not a big fan of those. He likes the portraits or a picture of the driver or something.
Yeah, because there's so many of these cards. I didn't even do the count for 2022 Topps Chrome. How many Lewis Hamiltons are in there?
Not as many as before, but still quite a few.
That's true because he has been winning as much. Yeah, but
exactly.
But still, that is a. I mean, it's cool that it is Chrome, and it's a PSA 10, right? Because of the issue, just with that with the scarcity. But I don't know if it's enough to justify that. So, congratulations whoever sold that, and hope whoever bought it is happy with it.
I just believe it's going to be one of those things where it's somebody that really wants a higher end card of his, but yeah, that portrait's going to be 10,000 or 15,000, and you know what? I can't pull 15,000, but I can pull 4,000.
Right.
I really just think I think I think because of that, I think the lower level ones want a guy like Hamilton probably are a little higher than they should be. Because you have so many that do want it but can't afford that top, so they actually kind of raise the prices on the lower ones, like you said, like the car cards or whatever.
So this is Ray Wave. I think that was in the light.
Correct.
Those light boxes have come down too.
Yeah.
But incredible. When it comes to F1, I got no clue.
Well, the 5-figure prices on a lot of F1 cards you're not seeing as many of those as we have in the past. In fact, I didn't see any this week. I mean, everything was just a 4-figure card or less that were on eBay. So it's getting more scarce to see those cards go for those big high 5-figure, maybe even 6-figure prices, unless it's just extremely rare and something that everybody wants. But so that's it for this week's King's Court.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Well, I don't know if you guys have anything else. One thing I do want to say is I appreciate everybody listening to the podcast, watching the show. Shout out to folks in New South Wales, Australia, and Hessen, Germany, Singapore, New Zealand, Canada, and the folks in the U.S., Virginia, South Carolina, Illinois, New York, California. Appreciate everybody downloading the show, watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I thought you were going to sing a Johnny Cash song there for a minute. I've been everywhere, man.
I know my limit singing is not one of them, and we want folks to share the show and the podcast. So I don't want to I don't want to do that to everybody. So
cool. I've only got a few things. You know what they are? Hashtag skid marks, Ty freaking Gibbs, and hashtag slabfire.
Awesome. And then Ken, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Yep.
Yeah, Ken, if you have any kind of where people can find you want to do any shout outs, whatever.
If you want. I mean, on Instagram, I'm Beans Ball Card Blog. Same on eBay, and then I guess Twitter would be Beans B Card Blog. But I'm definitely social media-ing a lot less than I used to. So
yeah, I've noticed.
I'm happy to be here, though.
Makes me sad.
Well, I mean,
it
takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time.
And it makes me too. And social media just makes me angry usually.
Sometimes it can. Sometimes.
So. I'm collecting in the shadows, my friends. Collecting in the shadows.
As we always say, collect your way. There's no right or wrong way.
I send you guys. You guys pictures of the good stuff.
Yes, we see a lot of your good stuff, and you've got quite an impressive collection going on right now.
And hopefully only to get better as time marches on.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right, I guess we'll leave it there. We went over the hour mark, so.
You know what? I'm going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
In honor of the Indy 500 and how long this show has been, it's a new track record.
I think it is.
It tends to happen when I join because I am so long-winded.
It's great information.
It is a lot of good information.
Again, we broke some news here today on the Chip Ganassi racing, so that was cool. And again, some other alternatives or regional sets, promotional sets for IndyCar. So, but we appreciate it, and me and Logan will be back next week. And everybody have a great weekend. We got a lot of races here, so a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to watch. So, all right, we're out of here.